It's the hand being talked about around the poker world. Canada's Griffin Benger versus the talkative and highly polarizing Englishman William Kassouf. A classic cooler. It's the backstory. Kassouf's banter, what he calls speech play, that led to one of the most explosive moments in WSOP history. What a poker hand. Tension, high drama. But remember 2005? Perhaps the most epic hand ever. And this one also involved a mouth. Aces versus Kings, today on High Roller Radio. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's painful. Being dealt pocket kings only to find your opponent flipping over the best starting hand possible. At a nine-handed table, the odds of running your kings into aces is a measly 4.32%. But it does happen. 2007 World Series of Poker final table of the 3K No Limit Hold'em with the tournament down to 8 players. Brett Ritchie raised it up with kings. Beth Shack began to Hollywood and announced raise. "Oh, I don't know what to do. Tough decision," she said. All in. She had pocket aces. 14-time bracelet winner and 1989 world champ Phil Hellmuth, who at the time was gunning for bracelet number 12, jumped out of his chair and shoved all his chips in the middle. As Ritchie was contemplating what to do with his cowboys, Shack started dancing and motioning with her fingers, signaling to her rail that she had aces. She was even whispering, "I got it, I got it." Then she actually went over to Hellmuth and the two high-fived, all while Ritchie was still thinking. And he called. No. Of course, Shack and Hellmuth chopped the pot and Ritchie was eliminated in 8th. He made the worst call ever. I mean, she was dancing, Hellmuth said afterward. Well, the poker world just witnessed a hand that will be talked about forever. Benger against Kassouf. 17 left in the main, a $28 million pot. Benger raised it up to $5.6 million, and Kassouf started to talk. "Another cooler?" he asked. "I don't think I can pass here. You want me to go all in or fold?" His usual routine, speech play. But he had been doing it all tournament, talking up a storm, and by this time his opponents had had enough. Calling the clock, complaining to the tournament director, it was mob mentality. Kassouf continued to think, continued to talk, and Benger, who had remained silent to this point, could not stay quiet any longer. He said to Kassouf, quote, "You're just an abusive person, man. It's not funny. It's not a game. You're being abusive to me. It's called verbal abuse. What you're doing to me is verbal abuse. You're a bully. It's rude." "Speech play," Kassouf responded. The back and forth continued, more heated. Verbal abuse, speech play, verbal abuse, until Kassouf said, "Okay, you want to gamble? I'm all in." Of course, Benger called, his aces held, he makes the November 9, and Kassouf is busted. And sadly, some players wouldn't even shake his hand as he exited. Now, for the record, we think Kassouf plays, to quote a phrase, like a boss. And this was definitely not verbal abuse. The real issue is the amount of time he takes with his chatter, frustrating for others. But we are also fans of Benger. We've had him on the show, and we give him full credit for using this tactic as a means to get the Englishman to stick his chips in. Inevitable, right? Kings versus aces? But Benger didn't know that at the time. And from where we sit, poker needs more William Kassoufs. 9 high like a boss. But poker also needs a shot clock, and we do believe it's coming. Now, let's go back to the year Joe Hasham won the world title, 2005, and perhaps the most epic hand all time. Steve Daneman opens with pocket jacks, Scott Lazar makes it $1 million with aces, and Mike Matusow shoved with kings. Daneman folded, Lazar called, and the cards were shown. "It's up to the gods now," said Lazar, pointing skyward. Matusow, devastated, grit his teeth, pointed at the table where the flop was about to be dealt, and screamed, "King!" 1 time. Sure enough, a king hit the flop. Matusow made a set and started jumping for joy, 5 or 6 leaps. The atmosphere was electric. But there were still 2 cards to come, and with 2 hearts on the board and Lazar holding the ace of hearts, it went runner, runner, heart. Lazar made his flush, and Matusow was crushed. "The best hand won, right?" Lazar said, referring to his 4-1 favorite status pre-flop. Cowboys with bullets. High drama indeed. Aces versus kings at the World Series of Poker today on High Roller Radio.